Okay, you ready for this? I need to change his diaper. So today I'm going to share Bjorn's birth story, our whole experience, and kind of what happened from beginning to end. So this might be a little bit of a longer video, but I think if you are contemplating having a home birth, or even interested or curious at all, or if you're a family or friend of mine and you want to hear the story from beginning to end, this would be a good video for you to watch. Let's talk about the birth. About 2 to 3 weeks before I actually went into labor with this little bear here, I was feeling kind of crampy, similar to how you feel like right before you're gonna get your period. I felt a lot of that, and it was quite intense, and I also was having a lot of Braxton Hicks whenever I would walk the dogs or pretty much do anything. Yeah, pretty much like walk anywhere or do anything. I was very out of breath, but I was feeling a lot of sensations down there. So the morning that labor started, it was 5:46. It was 5:46 in the morning. I remember that because I looked at my phone, and I woke up to a really strong, what felt like period cramp, and I didn't really think anything of it, just because I'd already been experiencing those sensations for quite some time. So I went back to bed. About 40 minutes later, I woke up to another one, and I kind of was a little suspicious of what that might be, but at the same time, I was thinking, okay, well, this has been happening for a few weeks now. I'm not gonna really think anything of it. Then another 30-40 minutes went by, and I felt that same sensation again. At that point, I had to use the restroom. So I went to the restroom, I came back, and my husband was, at this point, he usually already gets up and starts getting ready for work. It was probably 7:30, 8 o'clock at that point. And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I told him, well, I just had to use the restroom. And he's like, "Okay, that's weird." So some time went by, and I didn't really want to mention right away that I felt like I was in labor, because I didn't want to panic, and I didn't want him to panic, and I just wanted to feel a little more sure about it. So I kind of wanted to ease it in. I didn't want to be too abrupt about it. So we were both laying in bed still with the dogs, and I said, "So I think I'm in labor." And he said, "Well, then should I go to work or should I stay home?" And luckily he works right down the street, which is literally a 5-minute walk. So if I needed him to come home at any point, he would have been able to rather quickly. He walks to and from work, which is amazing. And I said, "I don't know. Let's just kind of play it by ear while you're getting ready for work." So as he's getting ready, I'm still feeling these sensations, and I said, "Yeah, I think this is it." And so we called our doula, and she was like, "Yeah, it sounds like this could be it, but let's just kind of play it by ear, keep me in the loop." And Justin asked, "Should I go to work? Should I not go to work?" And he said, "Oh, maybe I can just take my meetings from work this morning, and then if nothing happens, I can go in, or if I need to stay home, I can do that." So she was like, "That's a great idea, let's do that." So she said, "I'll check in with you guys throughout the day. Just keep going about your day, do whatever you're doing. Do life," is what my doula mentioned. She said that's something that she tells all of her clients, because it doesn't put pressure on yourself to speed your body up to do something it's not essentially prepared to do quite yet. So she said, "Do life, go about your day, do whatever you're gonna do, just continue your day like a normal day." So I decided I need to eat a big breakfast. So I ate a big breakfast. I think I ate tofu scrambled burritos or something. Oh yeah, I did. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want my midwives and my doula coming over with a dirty apartment. So I just want to clean, and I don't know when the next time I'll be able to do this is, if this really is labor. So I vacuumed, I think I did some laundry, I wiped down all of our surfaces, I made sure blankets were clean, washed any towels that we might need for the birth. So just kind of doing things to make sure everything was in order. And the day went on, and I feel like it went by really quickly. But then we decided, okay, well, we should call our midwives. And I think we called them like at 10 or 11 after my husband's first meeting. And they were like, okay, like, this is amazing, like, this is so exciting, but if anything changes, let me know. Make sure you're, you know, Justin, my husband, make sure you're timing her contractions. If anything changes or you need a midwife, you let us know and we'll come over. And same thing with them. We'll be checking in with you throughout the day. If you need anything, let us know. So we kind of went about our day, and it was honestly like a pretty easy first part of labor, to be quite honest. It wasn't too painful. I was able to still do the things I needed to do. I played with the dogs. I gave them lots of hugs and lots of kisses. We ordered lunch, and then at about 2 o'clock, I was like, well, I always knew that I wanted to go to Fiesta Island. Yeah, that was kind of my wish list if everything worked out the way I wanted it to, was that we would take the dogs to Fiesta Island for like one last big shebang before baby is here. By the way, we didn't know if we were having a boy or a girl. So we got ready, and there's actually a little bit of footage of us at Fiesta Island, so I will include this footage here. We are driving to Fiesta Island. I am in early stages of labor, so we're taking the dogs over to get some energy out and to get them to play a bit, because who knows how long this process is going to take. Justin has a sore neck because he slept on his neck wrong, so
I can't turn.
He can't turn, and he's in the trenches with me, so that's nice. So that was us on our way to Fiesta Island and at Fiesta Island, and I think we were there for like 45 minutes before walking around. Oh, and at this point, contractions were probably like 9-11 minutes apart on our way to Fiesta Island. Then walking around, they started speeding up a lot more quickly, and finally, as we were walking, they got to be like, I want to say between 3 to 5 minutes. So, and they were becoming quite intense. Like, I had to stop and really breathe through them. I had to squat down, bend over. People were looking at us like we were probably crazy or something. You just see this pregnant lady like waddling around Fiesta Island. And I've talked about Fiesta Island before, by the way. So Fiesta Island is a huge off-leash dog park. It's an island in San Diego, and your dogs can pretty much roam free. It's kind of like a hiking path almost, even though it's not really like hiking, and it's on the water. So the dogs like book it up and down these hills into the water. It's really fun. It's really serene. It's an awesome place to go if you ever come to San Diego and you have dogs and you're bringing your pups with you. I suggest to go there. So we're at Fiesta Island, and I'm getting through these surges, contractions, whatever you want to call them. And we finally get to this point where I'm telling Justin, I think we should go back, because if we don't start heading back to the car, I don't know that I'll make it back to the car. Like, it's just going to be stopping every few minutes to breathe through these contractions. Like, they're getting very intense. So we start walking back, and again, at this point, they're like 2 to 4 minutes apart, I want to say. Like, they're pretty consistent. So he's kind of panicked. He's like, we need to call Phoebe or Julia. We need to call Phoebe. We need to call Phoebe. And I was like, I'm not going to call her while I'm walking to the car and while we're in the car. Like, I'll call her when we get home. I promise I'll call her. And he's like, okay. And he's really concerned because the drive is like 15 minutes away. And he said, are you going to make it? And I said, yes, we'll be fine. I'm not going to have this baby in the car. Like, we'll be okay. I just have to breathe through these contractions. So as we're leaving the island, I told him, I need you to pull over for one last time. It was really bumpy, and I just said, pull over. And I breathed through a contraction, and he said, are you gonna make it for like the final time? And I said, I'm gonna make it. I just need to breathe through this last one with the car not moving. So I finished that contraction, and we got on the road, and we headed home. On our way home, Phoebe calls. And she said, okay, and at this point it's probably like, I don't know, it's probably like close to 4 o'clock. And she said, I'm packing up my car. I don't think I'll be coming home tonight. Like, I have a feeling this is it. So I'm just getting all my stuff ready and that sort of thing. I should be there like an hour or 2. So we're like, okay, that's fine. She asked me how I'm feeling. I'm still talking through the contractions, and everything's fine. Like, they're intense and they're pretty consistent, and they're lasting about a minute long each time, but I'm fine. I don't feel like this baby's coming. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. You want to come on, mommy? So we get upstairs to our apartment, and I wanted to shower. Like, that was something I knew I was going to want to do. So I I sprayed, or not sprayed, but I let some essential oils diffuse. I turned on some music that I put on a SoundCloud playlist, and I spent a good amount of time in the shower with the water, and I breathed through some contractions there, and that was really calming, and it was nice because it was still daytime. So it was really nice. And our midwives call, and they're like, how are you doing? And Justin's talking to them, and they really listen to the contractions, because they say during labor your demeanor changes significantly depending on what stage of labor you're in. So they were listening to me for me being in distress, for me not being able to talk, for me really like moaning through contractions and doing really like deep labored breathing, and none of that was really happening for me. Like, I was breathing through them pretty deeply, but I didn't feel like I was in distress. They didn't feel like I was in a lot of distress, so they didn't really think I was as far along as in reality I actually was. So she's like, okay, like, just keep us in the loop again, and we'll, you know, if you need us, we'll come. So I'm breathing through my contractions. I sat on the bed. There's a really cute picture with me and Sparrow, like I'm working through a contraction and Sparrow's just like right next to me. So I'll insert that picture here. So after that, I'm kind of just walking around. I think I bounced on the exercise ball, the yoga ball for a little while, and I'm just drinking water, trying to stay hydrated. And then our doula gets here, and at that point it's like, I want to say 6 or 6:30 p.m. and she comes in and she sets up all of her stuff. She brought a massage table to do some body work. She burned some essential oils. She burned some Palo Santo. It was like, it became very serene when she got here. It was like lights were dimmed, sun was already going down. It was very peaceful. So she started doing some body work with me, some spinning babies exercises. If you don't know what spinning babies are and you're expecting, I definitely suggest you look into that. It's pretty much different like movements and exercises to get your baby engaged. So making sure their head is very low and in an ideal position for labor. So we did a lot of that. It wasn't comfortable because we had to do a lot of it while I was going through contractions, but it was vital. And something I think that you don't really know about labor is that it's hard work. Meaning you as the mother have to put in a lot of effort to make sure your experience is the experience you want. I mean, you could do nothing, I'm sure, and it would be fine, but I was going to do anything and everything my midwife suggested before going into labor and during labor because they know best, they have the experience. So we did all these spinning baby moves, and as we're wrapping up, our midwives call, and one of them was like, okay, I'm gonna come over, because we had a practice of midwives. So it's 4 of them, you meet with all of them, and then whichever 2 are on call that day come and are there during your labor. So she called and she said, okay, I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna bring all my stuff just in case, but it's probably just gonna be like a checkup. So we're like, okay, whatever. And so she listens through to my contractions, and she's like, I don't think you're that far along yet, but we'll see how it goes once I get there. So I was doing stuff with Phoebe when the midwife got here, and she was like, okay, I don't think we're that far along. And apparently she told Justin, like, we're gonna be here for a long time, because Justin asked her, well, how long do you think it's gonna take, like how much more longer? And she said, honestly, like it could be a whole nother day. Like it's probably what it's gonna be. It's her first pregnancy. She's probably not that far along yet. So that's when she came in, and I said hi to her, and she said, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to my car, grab all my stuff. I would like to give you, she said, I would like to give you a cervical check if that's okay with you, just so I know how far along you are and kind of like what we have to do. And I said, okay, well, I just really want to get in the bathtub. Like I just want to go in water. She said, okay, like that's fine. So our doula filled up the bathtub with a lot of essential oils, and the whole time our doula is like, I'm sorry. So I get in the tub and our midwife comes in and she checks me, and she kind of starts giggling, and I'm concerned, like what? She's like, oh my God, Val, oh my God. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Val, what? Like what's happening down there? She said, you're like completely dilated. You're like already there. I need to call Sunshine, the other midwife on call, and have her get here like immediately. So nobody knew how far along I was because I was so stoic, I guess is the word you can use. So no one really knew like how far along I was because I just didn't show that I was in pain. Like I was still talking normally to them on the phone. I was still kind of like laughing, ooh, and making jokes and that sort of thing. Okay, so I stayed in the tub, and at that point for the midwife and Justin, it was like a mad dash to get everything else ready. So they had to get the bed prepared. They had to get a bunch of towels and lay them down. They had to get the birthing tub prepared, and I just remember hearing them like zipping and zooming around. Ooh, what are you saying? You talking to the camera? What are you saying to the camera? Say I was trying to come out. I took my time though. So it was kind of a mad dash to get everything done. So the other midwife got here, and I think at that point I was already in the tub, and it was a little while. I was just kind of like breathing through things with Justin and our doula. What are you saying? With Justin and our doula rubbing me and massaging me, it was it was honestly okay. So as I'm in the birthing tub just breathing through things, they're like, do you want to try pushing? So I tried pushing, and pushing is not fun. There's nothing you can do to prepare yourself for pushing, especially if it's your first baby. Like, you don't know how hard you have to push, you don't know what you have to like engage down there in order to get the baby out. It's an experience beyond words. And nothing was really happening, and I remember putting my hand in there and I could feel his squishy head. It was so weird. And my water hadn't popped, so I could like feel almost like something like rubbery around the head, but it was really squishy, and I can like still I can still recall the really weird feeling of his head down there. So they're like, nothing's really happening. I pushed for like, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and just there was like no progress. I wasn't pushing hard enough. I was scared to push. And that's something I hadn't talked to my doula about, was pushing. I didn't know how I was gonna push. I was scared of tearing. So kind of the things that I was scared of that I hadn't gotten out in the open, they kind of manifested during my labor, which was pushing, not knowing how to push, getting tired, and then really tearing, which all three of those things happened. So I'm in the birth pool pushing, and they're kind of doing what they call is assisted directed pushing. So they're kind of coaching you through it, and they kind of get in there and they're kind of like pushing on like a ligament, saying, once you feel this, like, keep going, keep going. So as I'm pushing, they're in there and they're like, go, 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 yep, that's it. But nothing was happening. So they're like, you know what, let's get you out of the tub. We need you to pee, because they really want you to pee during labor, because they're keeping you hydrated the whole time. They're also giving me maple syrup to keep my energy up, but I was getting tired, and they knew that, and they didn't want me to be so exhausted that I would have to get transferred to a hospital. So they really work on not exhausting you, and you saving your energy. So they were like, let's take a nap. Everyone like just rest for a little while, which I wish I could have napped, but I didn't really nap. I was just like in bed, just kind of breathing through contractions, not really doing anything. So everyone slept for like, I don't know, 45 minutes, an hour, and then we got up and they were like, okay, let's try pushing again. So I tried pushing. Or no, they didn't want me to push. Our doula did some exercises with me again, and then I went to the toilet and I did some more directive pushing on the toilet with our midwife, and they made me a smoothie, and I was drinking the smoothie and staying really hydrated. And and then also too, earlier when I was going pee, my water broke. So my water and my mucus plug, my water didn't break, and I didn't lose my mucus plug until I was well into labor. So he's getting really wiggly. I think he's tired and hungry. So, ooh. Can you say ooh? Ooh. So I went to the toilet and they did some directive pushing there. Ooh. Oh. So then they said, okay, let's try pushing again. We can have you in a deep squat position by the bed, and like Justin can be holding your hands, and Justin can be holding your hands, and it can give you like, kind of give you a little bit of strength, and Sunshine can be behind you with Sunshine can be behind you with 2 hands doing directive pushing that way. So at that point, this might seem so irrational, but at that point I remember there were 3 things going through my head. One was this labor is never going to end. Like, I'm gonna be pushing forever. Like, he's never gonna come out. It's gonna be so uncomfortable. Like, this is just never gonna end. So, there was that. The next one was you're gonna have to go to the hospital, and that's not what I wanted. Third option was you push this baby out right now. Like, you get this baby out because you're getting tired or you're gonna go to the hospital. Like, you choose get him out right now. So I remember going over to the bed and everyone was in the bedroom, and I remember saying, like, we're getting this baby out. Like, it's coming out right now. And my husband told me after the labor, like, everyone at that point was like, okay, like, let's do this. They just were so surprised, like, okay, she's ready, this is happening. So sure enough, I got into the squat position and I pushed once, and she was like, that was great, let's do it again. And then she was like, let's do it again. So then I did it again, and boom, his head came out. Like, there was no ring of fire. It was like he just came out with the vengeance. Whoa! And his little head was out, and then she was like, oh my god, his head's out, that's crazy, do you want to look? And I was like, no, like, no, I don't want to look. But Justin looked, and he said that was crazy, just seeing like a little head, just like, eh. And then I pushed the rest of his body out, and he was here. And at that point, it was like it was 4 a.m. He was born exactly at 4 a.m. And he weighed 7 pounds, 10 ounces. And I was surprised that he weighed that much because they thought he was going to be really small. They were like, he's maybe like 6.5 pounds. But when he came out, I remember thinking, that's not a 6.5 pound baby. That looks way bigger. So he came out, and they placed him on my chest, and we did skin to skin, and I got in the bed. There was a lot of bleeding, so I hemorrhaged quite a bit. So there was a mad dash to get out the placenta. So they gave me a shot of Pitocin, and they got the placenta out, and they stitched me up, which it was a pretty severe stitching, and he was here. So that's the story, our home birth story. It honestly was an amazing experience, even though it took a long time. I'm really proud that I was able to do it unmedicated, that he was healthy, I was healthy. You know, the whole time that our midwives are here, they're checking us, and they're making sure our heart rates are fine. They're keeping me hydrated. Ooh, keeping me hydrated, and I felt safe and cared for the entire time. So that's the story. If you have any questions, please comment down below. We do have some footage from that day, so I will put any of that footage that is YouTube appropriate next, and some pictures of this little guy when he first came out. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye!
Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do ya? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall, and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. hallelujah. Well, your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof. Her beauty in the moonlight overthrew you. She tied you to her kitchen chair. She broke your throne and she cut your hair. And from your lips she drew the